Okay, guys, so we'll start at the beginning. King of the Octagons up and coming. But how did the idea come about? Where did it start?
It started obviously at sponsor Tom Johnson, which is Frank's son, and lad called Ryan Dobinson sponsored them for
3 or 4 years now.
3 or 4 years now. We've been travelling up and down the UK on different shows with them fighting on it. And maybe for past 2 years, we've come up with the idea of having one at home. And it obviously time's ticked by, and now it's ever happened, but now's the time.
Really? When do you think that turnover went from, right, this has been an idea, but we're going to make it happen?
So it was always when you're setting an MMA show up, it's always nice to have like a host club or somebody at home who you can match a lot of the fighters against. And initially, there was clubs to, and when you bring a club into that, the club needs to make money, so they're looking to make money out of it. But obviously, when Kyle came, and it was Kyle's idea to get this set up and get it up and running, he's like, I'm not looking to make money out of this show.
Yeah.
I want to make this show the best I can possibly make it.
Yeah.
So therefore, when you took the club out of the equation, and then it's like we're just going to build a really good show, and it's going to cost me money, but I'm not
It's gonna
bothered.
work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, not bothered.
And do you feel like obviously you've got people on board? Have you got gyms on board that are supporting you and stuff through it? Like the fighters that you say you've sponsored, do you feel like you've sponsored them, you're now
Yeah,
setting up a platform for them? Are they now backing you and wanting to be like, yeah, let's bring the storm, so to speak?
yeah. Well, obviously we've got Tom and Ryan's gym on board, Tap
Yeah.
Out, Knockout and Work It. They're on board. We've got a couple of fighters on for us. Another local club is the Ox Fight Academy. He's got eight. He's put eight.
That's
Well,
good.
couldn't
Good
you?
numbers.
Well, be nine now because last fella be nine on. He's got on now. So I would. What else we got? Tygon.
Tiger on, they give massive support.
Tygon's give quite a few eyes. So
I think the more you'll grow as well, you'll get more and more on
yeah,
board.
We've even got the likes of Regan O'Brien coming up. So an IMAF gold medalist, an up and coming in the world of MMA. He's going to be fighting on this show.
So that'll
So
bring eyes as well.
100%, 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
King of the Octagon, just tell me, where's the name come from? Where's that? Is that a concept, or is it just one of them? It's an octagon, so we'll get the king, or is there
yeah.
something behind it?
No. As I said, it was just. But I come up with a couple of names and passed them by Frank. And obviously, when I read them back and Frank read them, we weren't too keen on them. And I just went with King of the Octagon. And
Yeah.
obviously, when he said that, maybe a couple of times, it just clicked.
You knew it was right.
Yeah.
When it's right, it's
Just
right.
clicked. Yeah.
That's good. Was it always meant to be like a crossover show, like MMA, boxing, or did that just evolve over you speaking about it and getting people on board?
Yeah, it's obviously, as I say, we've been up and down the country, watching different shows with Ryan and Tom on, and they do crossovers as well. And you look and think, well, obviously it works quite well. So it breaks like the kind of MMA thing now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and especially when we've got the likes of Paul and the contacts he's brought, because when Paul got on board, he basically got Luke lined up for us. So
Yeah, I think anything with King in the name in the names, you're always on with the winner, aren't you? When you're talking about King of the Octagon, but I think if you look at these world-renowned shows now, like One Championship, it's always in it. They do Octagon, but they'll do bare knuckle, Muay Thai, K1 kickboxing, MMA.
Yeah.
You know, even boxing fights. It's I think it opens massive opportunities for all rays of disciplines
Yeah.
to be King of the Octagon.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I like it. That's why I think it's you're on with a winner when it comes to King of the Octagon, because one, the name King in anything is brilliant.
Yeah.
And then
definitely.
having so many disciplines to be able to fight in a cage. You know, one of the things that I like through my fighting career, I've boxed in a cage, I've kickboxed in a cage, and I've done it in rings. You know, and if you ask me what's my favorite, I couldn't choose. I'm just up. It's just I like the feel of the cage because I like the feel of the ring. You can bounce off the ring, you can move a little bit more, but the cage is more barbaric for me. You know,
Yeah.
I think it feels a bit more. When you're locked in a cage and you're fighting, I think, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's my take on it anyway.
So are you hoping to bring something new onto the fight scene then? Obviously, you've got the different styles, but like the concept, the King of the Octagon, obviously it's just, and how are you going to make it where it's not just another show?
Yeah, budget.
Yeah.
Aye, a budget. Obviously, a show can have. They probably can afford one big name. Us, we can afford a lot of big names, as you say. We've got Paul, we've got Luke Dyson, Harry Hardwick's coming. Who else we got? We've got Sky Sports presenter. We've got no budget. That's what we're gonna.
And when you say that as well, so are you wanting this show to become? How big do you want it to become? What are you seeing in the future? Where do you think it's going to go?
I'm seeing Dana White being my T-boy.
Do you know what? Do you know what it is? From getting to know these boys and knowing Carl and being around the fight scene for many years myself, working with loads of different types of promoters and stuff. Now it's very rare you get a promoter or someone who's starting in the fight game who's like he's just said. It's not about profit. It's not about money. It's he loves the game,
Yeah.
you know, and he wants the best for the fighters. You know, talking about budget there, they're not asked. You know what I mean? As long as they're doing right by it's very rarely you get promoters like this. Where they're not asked about making a load of money from it. It's just getting the fighters out there, putting the best shows on, you know, just for the love of it.
Yeah, to
You know,
be fair, I spoke to one of the fighters earlier and they said, like, it's good. We know we're getting looked after as fighters.
100%.
And as fighters and people like us in the sport, we understand how much hard work we put in. And when someone appreciates that and looks after you,
Yeah,
it's a big
you
thing.
you'll know yourself within 20 minutes of half an hour of sitting down with a promotion or a promoter himself. You know for a fact that, you know, he's wanting you on there because he's going to be making a lot of money off you.
Yeah.
You know, it's very rarely you come across guys like these where, you know, they want you down, they want to look after you, they want to treat you well. You know, he's talking about close protection for me and my wife and stuff like that. I'm thinking, get me down here every month. You know, but this is the thing when you're coming across promoters like this that just love the game and love you know, just wanting the best for the fighters. It's hard to come across, and that's why promotions like this will always go to your whites, and it'll always work 100%. Yeah, and you're always going to get talented lads on because they're not going to be looked after.
You'll probably get loyalty from lads as well.
Yeah, and obviously we've got another date penciled in. It's in and around November, but we're not going to announce it just yet. But one of the ambitions I personally have for the November show is to get some of the top amateur MMA fighters off Tapology in the UK and Ireland, and let's find out who really is number one.
That is a plan. I like that.
And
So with sorry.
I was going to say, do you want to give him a spoiler alert as well, Paul, for November fight?
Spoiler, love it.
Well, yeah, November. I think I'm going to be blowing the dust off my shins, and I'm going to be starting kicking again. We'll see where we are. Anyone wants it? Get out.
I love that. Right, so we've spoke about the November. Obviously, we've got one coming up on July, the 5th of July. What is the promotion up and coming on the event? What response have you had? How have you put it out there that you've got an event coming up, and what feedback have you gained?
We've had like all the local newspapers and social medias like Cumbria Crack News and Star, etc. Posting it out there for us. Obviously being like in the game, I mean, like the business and the clients I deal with, sponsors haven't been an issue. We've got like the likes of Beck, which multi-million-pound companies, John Elliott, obviously my own company, West Lakes Demolition. So obviously the reach that them kind of guys have gotten in the area, you know, we've done it that kind of way.
Yeah, and have you had good feedback from the gyms and stuff that you've contacted? You were saying about like the fighters and people you're in contact with. You've had like people are actually like, oh yeah, we want to be involved.
As I say, it's like it goes back to the budget again. Obviously, we're paying the fighters well, we're paying the coaches well. We've got the top medical team in the UK, arguably, in mixed martial arts. So no expenses being spared, and the coaches are looking back on that and thinking that's where we want to be.
So was there a minute or a moment between years when the event started getting going? You've got your promotions going, you've got your people behind you, you've got the gyms coming wider, and you thought, yeah, this might actually go somewhere, this? Or did you know that from the start?
Yeah, I was pretty convinced with the time we took to talk about this previously and the plans that we previously had put in place. I was pretty convinced it wouldn't stop at just one show.
Yeah.
The plans that have been put into this, and the thing that we've got to build up as well is trust. So we've got some gyms that are supporting this straight off, but then when the word gets out that we support them as well as we think we can, and look after them as fighters, as we've talked about,
Yeah.
we've got to prove that. We've got to walk that walk.
Yeah.
And if we look after those people, they'll want to come back, and other gyms will hear about that and they'll want to be part of it. I've had conversations with lots of coaches. They've not all here, they're not all sending fighters, but I'd really like them to they come to me is what I'm looking at. In the future, they'll come to us, and
Yeah.
we'll be more than happy to look after them and support them on the show.
That's good. And obviously, when it comes to the fight as well, there's a lot of hungry amateurs out there and seasoned veterans as well. What are you looking for in the fighters who compete on your show? Like, are you wanting people to come and be like, we're going to put on a performance for you? Are you wanting like fan favourites who bring the crowds? Like, what are you wanting from the fighters that you put out there?
I guess we'll all give you different answers to this, but mine, I'd like to see a full range of those. Some of the people we've got some really good local fighters, and they will bring people, and the hall will be full, and there'll be a buzz supporting those lads. There's teams that will be in here, and it'll be great. But again, we've paid for the main event. You can't not look past that. Those two lads are going to come, and that's going to be a fight. I'm quite excited for that one. And some of the matches we've made in the amateur MMA, Tom versus Taz, that's going to be a brawl. That's going to be interesting how that one works out.
Nice.
Brian and George, again, fighting for a title. I'm really pleased with what's coming and what we've got on show there. I don't know what you're looking forward to.
Well, going back to the fighters, what I'm looking for is obviously people to come for the fight. We've had a couple of people pull in because
Happens on every show.
they're not happy with the people they're fighting. The way I look at it is, if you're a fighter, it doesn't matter who you're fighting, get out there and fight.
Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome. Yeah. Have you got anything you want to see from the fighters, like what they bring?
So, for me, I'm a big believer. If you've got to overcome a fight, you need to match him well, build confidence, and it varies for me. No, we all want to see 50-50 fights. That's what we want to see. Who's going to win this one? We're not quite sure who you're going with. These are the top fights that we want to see. Do you know what I mean? But you can't fault the lads that getting easy into the game. They're planning on being big in the game. And you've got to look after these lads well. I understand that. But for me, when you're talking about shows like this, that you're going to get looked after. You've got to do right by your promoter. You've got to do right by the show. Whoever they give you, you've got to say yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to you've got to do it. It's no good, telling everyone you're a fighter, getting on these posters and then going, he looks a bit too much for me. I'm not quite sure. If you're thinking like that and you've got that type of personality when you come into the fight world, you don't deserve to be in it. You really don't. I've had 40-odd fights and I wasn't always the best fighter. Do you know what I'm saying? I knew I wasn't always the best fighter, but I always believed in myself, and I always knew that, if I don't win, I'm going to be a tough fight for him.
Yeah.
And that's all I can be. I always held myself accountable to be a tough fight for any man walking this planet, and that's all I could be. I'm fortunate enough that my art and me got me through them fights. Do you know what I mean?
You've now become quite a big star. So with that, you've got quite a big following though.
I do all right.
So, and you've spoke about the topology and trying to make like the best matchups on King of the Octagon. With those matchups, are you going to try and create some more superstars by getting these big matchups? And what are you going to do regarding promoting these fighters in the background, and how are you going to bring them so that people are like, wow?
I think I'll give you the mic in a minute, but I think promoters, they give you the platform for you to become a big star. We can give you the platform. We can look after you. We can, give you what you need, pay you what you need. But this is who you're fighting. Now the ball's in your court.
So what's the platform you're going to give them?
Yep. So on this very first one, we've got the best media team that we could find in the UK. And presenters. And basically what we've done, as you know, you've already travelled around. You've been down to Wales, you've been to Cheshire, you've been to Halifax, is the other one. So we've already sent the people around to get the hype off the fighters, so we can build the fights and we can build onto each everything that we're going to have on that night. So the people who are fighting for titles, they've all had interviews. They'll all be, they'll all get their social media presence built up, and we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to do that.
Perfect.
Part of the plans for the next one is potentially, and this isn't nailed into stone yet, but potentially have a press conference for anybody who's fighting for a title.
Nice. I like that idea.
Yeah, it's not my idea.
Ah, good. So, as well, obviously, you just mentioned the titles. I had a peek at the belts before. They're beautiful, by the way. How many title fights have you got, and how did you decide who was worthy of getting the title fights?
We've got 3 on at the minute. Obviously, when I said before, the show is basically created on the back of Frank's son and Ryan Dobinson, obviously with sponsoring them and stuff like that, seeing how well they've been doing. They're 100% worthy of a title fight. So that was the main aim of the game, set the show up. Title fights were on straight away. And then obviously seeing Luke Dyson up and down the UK fighting, I think he's like twice a week now, 3 times a week. And he's the kind of man what deserves a title fight for doing kind of stuff like that. So that was a no-brainer.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Good. And the belts are really nice. Who designed and who come up with the idea on the belts?
Me.
Yeah.
As I say, it comes back to like the budget again. Obviously, them belts aren't cheap.
They're beautiful. They
so
are beautiful.
obviously, we just looked at the most expensive ones I could see and thought, we'll go with them.
Okay, so we've spoke about the fighters a little bit at the show. Can we speak about the fan experience now as well? Because obviously, when you're putting on a big show like this, reality is it's not just about the fighters anymore. If it's that big, it is about the fans. It is about the full experience. So what can we expect from the atmosphere when King of the Octagon launches?
It's going to be bouncing in here. Obviously,
we've got a belt just here now. I'm going to bring that in just so if we can pop it on the floor or bring it in just so we can have a look. That is beautiful. I'll have one of these. That one's fine, love. It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, it's lovely. We'll pop it there. So so the full experience, what can we expect now?
it'll be like the atmosphere in here, it'll be absolutely bouncing. We've went with the 2 big cinema screens. Pyrotechnics, they're going to be going off.
Nice.
And the thing that we're doing kind of different, we're doing like meet and greet. Obviously, we've got Paul in for a meet and greet. He's going to be seeing the fans, Luke Dyson, Harry Hardwick. There's going to be all kind of stuff we're doing different to any show that's going to be aimed at the fans.
Yeah, it definitely sounds good.
And I've also heard a rumour we've just decided we're going to be interviewing a few of the fans as well from the weigh-in.
Potentially. That's nice. Okay, so did you see King of the Octagon sorry, let me just start that one again. Hands-on, how hands-on are you with the show and the development behind it? Obviously, I know you've spoke about getting a media team and stuff like that. On the night, are you going to be present and are you going to be actively hands-on?
Obviously, we're going to be very busy on the night, organising it all, making sure the all goes to plan. We will be in and about the crowd, checking everything's all right. And the title fights, we're aiming for me and Frank to be behind the stage. And when the fighters walk out, obviously being Frank's son, we'll be walking with them with the belts up to the cage.
That's nice touch.
Yeah, and hopefully when Tom and Ryan win, we'll be in the cage with the belt and wrapping it around them.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Did you find any struggles along the way when it's been coming up to the promote? Like, obviously, we're not on fight night yet. Is there any struggles regarding the setup? Have you come up against any walls where you've been like, God, come on?
Pull out.
Yes.
Outside.
That is a struggle, isn't it?
We've had a couple of matches matched up and then pulled out. So that's obviously if a show gets that, I don't think.
Yeah, no, obviously, I think you've got some really good matches and some people don't quite like
injuries and stuff happen though.
Oh,
it's the fight game, unfortunately. It's always going to happen.
Of course, yeah, we've got a few weeks before that starts, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I think the last 4 weeks we're in now, aren't we? So this is the 4 weeks of hell.
So currently now we've got 18 matches, and I'd like to make a few more. We've got a lot of people that I haven't been able to match yet, and that's a bit disappointing from my behalf. I'd really like to get the people who want to fight. I'd really like to find them a reasonable opponent that we could make that happen. So I definitely am give up on that. I'll be on the phone for a good few hours today trying to sort that out as well, and tomorrow, and probably the day after.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I've just said about like the struggles, any walls that you've come up. What about like the rewards on the journey so far? Before fight nights come, has there been anything where you've been like, oh, where you may have got a fighter maybe, and you've been like, yes, we've got him, he's coming on?
Well, as Paul will know, my personal experience, I messaged Paul on the basis that he probably won't message back, but I'd like him there because obviously I watch Paul quite a lot. And when I got the message back and said, "Oh, he's up for coming," that was my
So happy.
my thing.
Superstar, see? You get shy. And what about yourself, Frank? Is there been any moments where you thought, yeah, it's all worth it?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
No. To be honest, the support we've had, particularly off the club at Cheshire, Octagon, they've been really supportive. They're really proactive, and they're bringing a team up, and they're coming to win. So those titles are going to be hard fought for, and some of the matches, like you say, like. That's a really good match. There's some out there. Regan O'Brien, for example, we've had a real trouble trying to match him up.
Yeah, no one wants him. He's
Well,
got a lot of hype around him. He's
he
known to be
has.
like a potential future star.
Absolutely, but Tim Quinlan doesn't think like that.
Yeah,
Tim's going to
show that
to
he's
put
the
that fight
all-star.
on, so he's going to travel up from Bedfordshire. So that's going to be a really interesting matchup. Stylistic as well. One grappler, one striker. I know they both can do both, but you know, it's a really interesting one to see.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I just keep my eyes are just drawn to this belt all the time. So, King of the Octagon could potentially be one of the UK's biggest, if not worldwide, shows. Is there going to be like merchandise and stuff, King of the Octagon? Do you see, especially you, do you see a vision of how big it can go in that term as well, like beyond the Octagon?
Well, probably another spoiler alert. We're looking
Oh.
at some
I love spoilers.
extremely big venues around Workington with probably capacity about 5,000. I'm looking for. So hopefully we're going to grow it that kind of big. Merchandise. We were having a conversation with Frank last night about some designs and stuff for the next show, and then we'll be putting merch and stuff out there.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm always free to model merchandise. Okay, so we'll wrap it up now a bit. Just before we do close, I just want to know, when fight night comes and the lights come down onto that octagon, what are you hoping everyone feels? Like, what are you hoping from it? Like the atmosphere for yourselves, for the audience? Like, what ambience do you want on the? Do you love that word, ambience? What ambience do you want to bring on the night? Like, what do you expect it to be like?
As I say, with obviously what we've got planned with the big screens, the pyrotechnics, obviously the people like Paul coming and stuff, I can obviously sense now what it's going to be like. It's going to be absolutely mental.
I've got a feeling already, personally, that I'm going to come in on the night and I'm going to be like, wow, this is going to be mega, just by the first instant, you know, because of how the setup's going to be and different things. And I think the fans and the people coming to support are going to be coming in and they're going to be like, oh, yes, from the first moment. So fights getting in, good fights going. It'll be a good atmosphere, I'm sure. Paul, as someone who's been around the fight game for many years, what's your first impression of King of the Octagon?
The first impressions was speaking to Carl and quickly finding out what his plans were, the situation that, you know, just what he said tonight, you know, looking at, you know, just doing right by the. One of the main things for me, what stands out to me is you know, how genuine and how genuine he is by putting this show on and giving all the fighters the best opportunities that they can possibly need when it comes to financial side of stuff, the cameras, the you know, getting them out there on social media, you know, getting, you know, all these,
Building a career for
yeah, and then
giving
sitting
them a
there and
head
saying, look,
start.
it's not about profit, it's not about, you know, what I'm getting back for it, it's what he's putting out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think you always get what you put, you always get out what you put in, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And I think I can't say it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, especially as a fighter, I always want to fight for someone like these. You know, I fought for the shitty promoters. I fought for the promoters where, you know, the back door and and they're keeping a little bit back and all that stuff. And you know it about it, but it's fuck all you can do.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to swear, Anna.
Well, we can
Right,
cut it
yeah.
out. Beep.
Sorry. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it when when you know these promoters and are not having your back, they're having their own, you know, but you're left with no option other than to get in there and fight for yeah.
And knowing you've got a good medical kit team on board as well. I think as a fighter personally, it's important to know that if something happens or even to your opponent, the team is on board. And because there is shows out there, isn't there,
Yeah.
that you know the medical, they don't even tell you to go to hospital if you've got concussion. Like, it's just stupid.
No, like I know I've fought on shows where where I've been split open and stuff like that, and they'll give you the card and say, right, the hospital's on there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When most of the shows that I fight on now, they'll stitch you in the back room.
Yeah.
They'll make sure they're looking after you and they're
Yeah.
checking you and all that stuff, and then that's what you need.
That's what you want.
know,
Yeah, you need looking after it. It's a physical, dangerous
Yeah.
sport at the end
Yeah.
of the day, isn't it? And what do you think sets the show apart from other events, like things like that, or other events that you fought on as well? Like we've just spoke about the medical. Is there anything else that you think sets it apart?
Yeah, the guys that are doing it, you know, and I'm not just saying it just to blow smoke up their asses. Just sat here, and because this is actually the first time that I've met him, but I've been speaking to him, and I can just tell, you know, what promoters' goals are, what they want to achieve, you know, and I think this is what will set them apart. You know, not being greedy bastards, and you know, not out to get what they can get. You know, it's. I think that's what's going to make the show work, and that's what's going to set them apart because they'll have fighters queuing up to get on the show.
And I think as well, I think that helps a lot for the younger fighters
100%.
to not be in that dog pit that we've experienced in years before, to be putting forward for a promotion that's looking after you. Like, that's so important for young fighters now.
Totally agree.
Because it can put people off. It can damage people. So honestly, thank you.
Yeah.
Personally,
The amount-
just for that, for the younger fighters that are coming up.
I can count on one hand, probably two fingers to be fair, like how many promoters that I've fought under that I've actually fought. Do you know what? He was all right, him.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of shows that I've fought on, I've fought slimy bastards.
Yeah.
You know, and that's been my experience of fighting on up and down the country on so many different shows, whether they've been small, whether they've been big. I've always felt hard done by.
Yeah.
You know, but I can count on one hand the actual promoters that I felt like they've actually looked after me. They've gone above and beyond. You know, and they've not just looked after me, but the whole arena, the whole crowd,
everybody.
the whole fight, all the rest of the fighters, they've
Yeah.
all been looked after, and they've all got the best of what these guys can offer. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And I think you owe yourself some credit there as well, because obviously giving them even the platform to promote themselves and stuff like that, to get to a level where Paul's at, where he has got a big following and you're setting it up now for them, don't you
Yeah.
agree? And you're making
Yeah.
it like a nice pathway for them. So give yourselves credit, because everyone wants as many followers and a good future ahead, you know, to go. And do you find it's easier now to find fights now you're well established and well known,
Of course, yeah.
and to give that on to younger people, like to be well established, well known? It makes your journey.
It does. I mean, it's kind of it's sad to say, but social media is actually the power of the power of a talented fighter now, because you know, if you bring eyes, you bring numbers, you sell tickets, you know, promoters want you on.
Yeah.
You know, I think Luke Dyson's the perfect fighter for this type of, you know, and he'll tell you himself. I've got a lot of respect for Luke, and I love Luke to bits. He's a good friend of mine, but he'll tell you himself he's not the best fighter in the world. He's just got big heart. He's durable, and he'll turn up and he'll fight.
Yeah.
You know, he brings, and people love him for that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and I think
getting a following.
yeah, and I think opportunities will always arise from that side of the promotion. You know, this type of stuff.
And if you've got fighters speaking well of a promotion, other fighters want to be involved anyway,
100%.
don't they?
Yeah.
Definitely. On King of the Octagon as well, do you think the approach of having the concept of bringing the crossover with MMA and boxing, do you feel like that's good so it can bring more
I absolutely
fighters
love
on
it.
board?
I'll absolutely love it. Like, there's nothing better than coming to a show and watching all these rave of disciplines of fighting. You know, what fight this? It's an MMA one. This is a Muay Thai one. This is a K one. This is a boxing one. It's absolutely brilliant to see,
it's
because
evolving the sports.
keeps you guessing, keeps you second guess. You know, there'll be people in this crowd who've never watched an MMA fight or a Muay Thai fight or a K1 fight, just watch boxing, and when they see it and they get the first experience, they think, wow, it's different. It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
You know, if you're watching a grappling fight or an MMA fight or a full they give you these different type of emotions,
Yeah,
different type of feelings
100%.
when you're watching these different disciplines, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, yeah.
And plus, then you've got the crowd as well, and
Yeah.
some will want to see the ground fighting, some will want to see striking, some will have come for the ground fighting, but they see the striking and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it brings it all together nicely,
100%.
doesn't it?
Yeah,
Definitely. As a veteran of the sport, do you feel like this show is helping to evolve the sport now? Like, can you see that this is going to bring something more?
Yeah, especially for the area. You know, I think this day and age now, you've got so many promotions and so many shows starting up. You know, and trying to build something from nothing. You know, and I think it's good to see. It really is good to see. I think if more promotions decided to work together instead of against each other, I think it could work wonders.
It could.
But then when you see what this type of stuff, what these are putting together, you know, as a first time show, giving people platforms, getting the
Yeah.
cameras out, getting the likes of Luke Dyson and Harry Hardwick down and stuff like that, it speaks volumes of these guys and what these are trying to set up.
Yeah.
100%,
And just
yeah.
looking at the King of the Octagon as well, this one's more for everybody. Is there anyone that stands out to you that you think, like, this is a match or this is a fight I'm really looking forward to? I want to see,
Well,
like, this is a future star potentially, or
Well, since I've been speaking to these guys and I've been looking at this show, I think it's is it Your Young'un? So I've been pretty invested in watching Your Young'un, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them two fight to that fight. And as always, I'm always looking forward to watching Luke Dyson either fill someone in or get filled in. I hope he gets filled in, to be fair. But nah, I'm only joking.
what about you guys? Is there anyone that stands out to you that you're looking forward to?
Obviously, like I said, there's three for me. There's Tom, Frank's son, Ryan Dobington, and also the first fight of the night to set off the first ever King of the Octagon will be my son.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we're looking forward to.
And obviously, Frank, you've got your son, but is there anyone else that stands out?
Yeah, he's obviously his training partner, Ryan Dobinson. They've been through this. They've been together since they were kids, since they were like 10, 11-year-old and a bit younger, to be fair. And they've been through thick and thin, and Ryan performed really well in his last fight. Just hope he keeps his head in the game and he'll perform well again this time.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm really, really looking forward to it. From what you have all told me, it sounds like it's going to be such a great night. You've got some great talent up and coming on there, like some talent that people are already watching and wanting to see. You've got the title fights. It seems like it cannot fail, guys. So I am more than looking forward to it, and let's have a great King of the Octagon.
Yeah, thank you.